Next Radio with Broadcast Bionics. Innovative solutions for creative people.
Hello. Okay then. Talk. Today. Talk. Today. Talk. Well, as you've heard there, that's Peking to Peking Talk. My name is Shawaz Jallo, and I'm one of the presenters for Peking to Peking Talk. Basically, we record educational radio programs for the children in Sierra Leone. I'm sure you all know we had the Ebola. Well, we still have it there, still really not done yet, but it's much better now. But at the height of it, we recorded these programs, and we send there for the children. We use it to educate the children, to talk about the health issues, and of course, their communities and every other things around it. So that's why I'm here today to talk more about it to you guys. I'm going to let the young lady here introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I'm Angela Robson and I'm the editor of Peking to Peking Talk, which I was mentioned has been set up to work with children in the eastern part of Sierra Leone who are affected by Ebola. The impact of Ebola has been quite devastating. Showers, you're from Sierra Leone. Tell us a little bit more about how it's affected the country socially, how it's affected the children.
Well, yeah, it's devastated my country, and of course, like I've always said, it's left a lasting impact in our lives, in the children's lives. We've had loads of children orphaned due to the Ebola, and of course, it's affected the economy as well. We've just coming from the war. We've been trying to recover from the war, and then we had the Ebola. Because of the Ebola, schools were shut, so the kids couldn't go to school. Hence, we recorded the programs we sent to Sierra Leone to help them with their education. As we all know, a country like Sierra Leone has been struggling during the war. We're struggling to rise up, and then the Ebola came. Lots of the things that we were trying to build up has gone backwards. So the Ebola, that's some of the effects, really. And mentally, of course, it's affected me, my families, people that I know will still struggle, and that's going to be for a long time.
I mean, there are thousands of people who've lost their lives in the Ebola crisis, and it's left many orphan children who've been stigmatized. There's been disabilities as a consequence of Ebola. This is a country which is only just recovering from this devastating 10-year-long civil war. I was in Sierra Leone at the heart of the war and had to flee. But Showers, you actually lived through it. Tell us a little bit more about how it sort of affected you.
I grew up in the war as a young child. My dad was in the army as well. He was one of the commanding officers. I lost my dad through that, and my uncles, a lot of my family. And of course, I remember going to school, and I had to run out of school because there was gunshots and bombs flying everywhere. And as a young child, you don't even know where you're going. And that has left a massive impact in me up to now. I don't even watch war films these days because all those thoughts come back to mind. Hence, I can relate to these children what they're going through right now because they're going through what I went through as a young boy. So yeah, the war has left a lot of scars in us, in me, my family, and most other Sierra Leoneans.
And I think this is, having lived in Sierra Leone, having worked in Africa, I'm sure many of you have also, if you have lived there, worked there, experienced the power of radio. I remember it was actually during the war, there was no electricity, no lighting, but every night we sat around this little plastic transistor and listened to the BBC World Service and heard about what was going on in the country from the BBC in London. And realising the power of radio and actually children not being able to go to school. The government did have some public service broadcasting, but it was actually rather tedious radio, which is why we've set up Peking to Peking Talk, which actually means child-to-child radio. Because radio has this incredible reach. In the area we're working in, which is on the border with Liberia, Kailan, which is actually where the original Ebola hotspot, and actually it was where the war first started in Sierra Leone. Radio is immensely powerful. There's no television, and every night people sit around their radios.
Yeah. And I remember when I was young as well, we listened to the radio when the football is on. So when there's goal, we all go, yay! We all scream. So the radio has educated me, of course. We listen to the BBC, we listen to radios and learn about things around the world. And of course, during the war, we listen to the radio. If it's from the BBC, then it's true. That's what we thought then. Yeah, so the radio is very important. Hence, we're using it now to educate the children. because as a musician as well, myself, I use the radio to send my message across, play my music, and send these messages to the children and to the people. So we thought it's a good idea to use it as well to educate the kids.
We've played you a little bit of Pickin' to Pickin' Talk. We've got 4 programs under this umbrella. We're just going to play you a few short extracts to give you a little flavour. We've got a program called Under the Mango Tree. It's like the mango tree is like our virtual studio where children come together and listen and tell stories. We've got another program which Showers presents called Messages Through Music. We've got another program called Story Time. So we're just going to play a little bit.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to this wonderful show, Pickin' to Pickin' Talk. I am Yusufu Jallo, the Cowfoot Prince. Una kushe, una kabo, unwali, bua, bisye, kanwe na. Una kushe, una welcome to this wonderful, wonderful show, Pickin' to Pickin' Talk. Mina Yusufu Jallo, the Cowfoot Prince.
This not teenage talk.
Today, we dey carry from one day older pikin teenager, who comot Kailahun district, and they can explain to we the circumstances will lead to and get belle.
The reason we make why I take belle because of when my mama not been there near me, and me auntie we been left me too, and not been take good care of me. When my mama been left me now, I go free turn. I been there from 1. The time been there now close I follow close. My mama left na toya. It's like June the 1st. Now I left. You go na free turn.
So the programs are recorded and broadcast in English and Creole, the local national language, and also in the local language in the area, which is called Kissi. And I mean, in that program, there was a girl who was a teenager. She was 13 and she's pregnant. And actually, that's Ebola. It's been devastating in itself, but it's also given, there's many, consequences to this crisis of children being out of school. Sexual violence was already a big problem as a legacy of the war, and there's just been a huge number of teenage girls becoming pregnant who have not been allowed to go to school because they're pregnant. So that's one of the things we've been, trying to address and getting children to talk about their experiences and, share their stories.
Yeah, and of course, I remember telling stories as well, sitting around the fire under the mango tree. We tell stories in the evenings to ourselves, our relatives, like our parents and uncles tell us stories as well, and that's how we learn about ourselves, our community. And when we tell a story, actually, before we finish, we say, Mborobena, and your response will be, Ya kumpa, Ya kampa, Ya kodo. God help us with this one. All right, I will not bother. Don't worry. If you want to learn that later,
next
talk
time
to me.
You can listen in. We're just going to play you a little bit of Yusufu Jallo telling one of the stories. Now, one of the key things about this programming, it's covering serious subject matter, but it's entertaining. We've got to get children listening every week. So it has to be fun. And this is one of my favorite stories, which is the girl in the coffee pot.
A long time ago, there was a girl. And this girl, she came to her mom. Mom! Mom! And mom says, what? Mom! Nobody likes me. Mom, look at me. I have a problem. I have something to tell you. And mom says, what's the problem? Mom, look at my face. I've got pimples. I've got no friends. Mom, look at I don't like mom. And mom says, wait a minute, young lady. Mom, I want you to listen to it. So mom says, wait a minute. Mom said to her, she says, go to the kitchen and put some water in a pot. Mom, what's that got anything to do with what I'm trying to tell you? Go to the kitchen. Put some water in the pot.
I mean, that could have been written about my daughter, actually. It makes me laugh and it makes her laugh. Well, thank you very much for coming today. I mean, one of the core things about this, the area we're working in, many people sold their last, items during the Ebola crisis. We've been providing free radio sets for children, and we're still fundraising to hand out more radios so that they can continue to listen to the program. And, we hope, Showers, tell us a little bit more finally why you got involved in this.
Well, like I said, I grew up in Sierra Leone during the war, and I feel as a musician it's my responsibility to support the children. and it help them, inspire them really, having gone through what they're going through now. That's why I'm actually mainly in it,
Okay.
to support them, yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.